Alrighty, we've got our 2 kilowatt hour section of a Chevy Volt battery here. It's got the metal end plates to keep it all compressed. It's bolted together. But we got to figure out how to mount it down. You can't drill any holes in it or put any bolts into it. So I'm thinking we'll use these bottom bolts right here. But they're a bit too short. So we'll add some longer extender ones to it. And probably put some angle iron or some feet down here so we have somewhere to bolt it down. So the original bolts that came with it were about 8.5 inches long. We wanted a little extra sticking out each side. So I got a couple of 12-inch pieces of this 1/4-inch threaded rod. We backed off about 1.5 inches, so now we have two 10.5-inch rods to attach our feet with. I come across some of this small, like 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch angle iron that should work nice to make us some feet. We can drill into it to attach it to the battery, and then we can add a couple of holes to attach it to the bike. Alrighty, I got our brackets all cleaned up and painted, so we'll get them mounted up on the battery. Alrighty, so our bracket will go right up to the back of the battery here, as such, and then we'll put the front one on. A couple of things I'd like to note is when you pull these bottom bolts out, do not pull the upper bolts out, because there are rubber O-rings in between each one of these cells. If you remove both the bolts, they'll pop apart and be real difficult to get compressed back together. And also on the back side there was little, almost like welded on nuts that kind of helped us clear this little protrusion right here, as you can see. So on the front side I added some other small nuts. That way our protrusion will be about the same. And once we add our bracket, it'll all even out. Now we have our feet all nice and secured. We have our bolt down holes. It matches nice. Looks like it's part of the battery. I got our battery mounted nicely with our new brackets in the front and the back there. Good and sturdy. It's not going anywhere. Gives you plenty of clearance all the way around. And you can't even hardly see the battery when you're on the bike. The next thing we got to do is get our circuit breaker mounted up, and then our shunt in a box. Put one on this side and one on the other side, kind of like saddlebags. Alrighty, we got the battery mounted, got the circuit breaker mounted, got the cables all hooked up, got the power to the DC to DC inverter hooked up, and the shunt's hooked up on the other side. And there's our shunt. Ground cable comes in out the front up to the speed controller. Next we'll do a systems check, make sure everything works.